Greetings, everybody. Welcome to tonight's live stream. I know it's been really hard for a lot of us, I guess, this week. Be with you here in a minute. So, just trying to do something here quick. Bear with me. All right, we're good. Yeah, it's been a interesting week this week. Man, we lost 4 people this week, 4 legendary figures this week. Malcolm Jamal Warner, the legendary Ozzy Osbourne, and Chuck Megulone, and now the immortal Hulk Hogan. It's been pretty tough indeed, man. I mean, 4 hits in 1 week, man. It's like, wow. And it's still been pretty hard to comprehend all this. I mean, Ozzy Osbourne, man. I didn't want to believe that at all. I'm like, I think it was a Mean Metal Mike that sent me uh, a message about Ozzy passing away. And I had to go research it to see if it was factual. And damn. I mean, inevitably, we knew Ozzy was sick. We knew Ozzy was not in good health. But, this is stuff you don't want to think about. When it comes to Ozzy Osbourne, man, anybody that's into heavy metal music, anybody that plays heavy metal music, doesn't matter what form of heavy metal music it is, black metal, death metal, thrash metal, speed metal, power metal, even progressive metal, doom metal, obviously doom metal, stoner metal, even new metal, as much as I freaking hate to say it, alternative metal, any kind of metal, that metalcore. It all came from Tony Iommi. It all came from Ozzy Osbourne, man. Like everything we do as metalheads and, as musicians, it's all because of Black Sabbath. And man, I apologize, man. It's just really hard to talk right now. Everything that's going on in the world right now, with people being divided, just hatred everywhere. The one thing I have I've really enjoyed seeing over the last few days is metalheads coming together. Like people, metalheads coming together. Even people that may have had falling outs or whatever coming together to celebrate the legacy of Ozzy Osbourne and the impact he had on us as metalheads and the music we love. You know, we do. You know, I mean, let's be honest. Some of us have gone through some tragedy here in 2025. On a personal level. Lately, I feel like I've been just losing my mind about over a lot of shit going on. But you know what? I mean, as a metalhead, as people that are into this music, and I know I've had issues with some people in the past. But honestly, that doesn't even matter because what matters is that we all love heavy metal music. We all appreciate what Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne did for us as metalheads. I mean, it just burns you out, man, when you see so much hatred in the world. You see people just wanting to hate for the sake of hating. But I don't want this to be like a completely downer stream. Even though right now this man, I mean, we've had a lot of losses, but man, this one just really freaking hit. Felt this way when we lost Lemmy. I felt this way when we lost Ronnie James Dio. But you know what? Knowing Ozzy Osbourne, obviously I never personally knew who he was. But knowing Ozzy, he would want us to continue rocking and rolling and having a good fucking time. That's what he would want. You know why? Because life's short. Life is very short. You know, I mean, none of us are getting younger, you know, and none of us are gonna leave this planet alive. One day we're all gonna go. One day we're all gonna breathe our last breath, speak our last words, and that's it. And I know sometimes people can anger us. Sometimes we can develop hatred for people. But the worst thing you can do, and I really been thinking about this the last couple of days, is holding grudges against people that done you wrong. Because at the end of the day, we're not perfect either. None of us are perfect. Perfect. We've all made mistakes in our lives. We've all done things in our lives we regret. We've all said things we regret. You know, we're human beings. We're not immortals. We're not going to live forever. But Ozzy Osbourne, what an influence. What a freaking influence, man. I mean, the first time I heard Ozzy was back in the early 80s. Must have been around 81, 82, I'm guessing. I was very, very young. I just remember as a kid hearing Crazy Train on the radio. I remember in the mid 80s seeing Shot in the Dark, the MTV video, and seeing Hulk Hogan or seeing Ozzy Osbourne on WrestleMania 2. You know, Black Sabbath, man. The first time I heard Sabbath was in the 80s too. Ironically, through professional wrestling. Iron Man, that's what Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, used to come to the ring to back in the NWA, AWA. You know, but man, the first time I heard Paranoid in 1988, the first time I heard Electric Funeral, that's what got me hooked on Black Sabbath. Just hearing that dark, sinister riff, man, it just captivated me as a kid. Now, 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 wow, 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 wow. Dude, that riff just hooked me when I first heard that. And it made me want to listen to heavier and darker music, you know. So yeah, Paranoid, man. Black Sabbath's Paranoid. Then when after that, obviously, it's funny how I heard this album because an older friend of mine had it on cassette tape at the time, and it's the same guy that got me into Metallica back then too. And so he played side two of Paranoid. So it was like reverse, I didn't hear like side one of Paranoid. It started with side two of Paranoid, where Electric Funeral kicks in, and then Hand of Doom comes in. And right away, I'm just like captivated into this music. I loved how dark it was and how sinister it sounded, you know. So it made me want to obviously listen to more Black Sabbath, of course, and really delve into more Ozzy Osbourne. And it's funny because like 55 years later, that music still sounds relevant today. Like you can put on any Black Sabbath album, from back then, and it still sounds relevant. You can put on the first Black Sabbath album, Paranoid, Master of Reality, Volume 4, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, Sabotage. You know, I mean, even Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die Yet. Obviously, the weaker Sabbath albums, but there's still stuff on those albums you can gravitate to. You know, gonna read your comments here in a minute. How's it going, Miss A? Good to see you here. I got to say, I'm grateful that I got to work with him and travel with them and just experience all kinds of cool stuff because of him, like millions of other people. I'm sad as shit. Yeah, I remember you were telling me you got to like hang out with Ozzy and stuff at like the early Ozfest. you know. Oh man, I love them, dude. Those classic Sabbath concerts on YouTube, man. I love watching that stuff. You know, California Jam '74. There's a bunch of other stuff on there too you can find. I mean, it's true. You know, Ozzy wasn't doing good. You know, his health wasn't good. It's pretty cool. You know that Back to the Beginning happened. I mean, yeah, granted, I didn't like every artist that was on that, but it's still pretty cool that it happened. You know, and it was cool to at least see the original Black Sabbath for one last time. You know, so yeah, man, rest in peace to Ozzy, man. Everybody here, you know, we all definitely owe our gratitude and our respect to Ozzy Osbourne, you know, and obviously Black Sabbath, you know. Well, you know what? You're obviously too immature for this, so goodbye. You know what? That actually makes a lot of sense when you listen to a lot of Ozzy's ballads because Ozzy was very influenced by the Beatles. You can definitely hear that Beatle influence in a lot of his ballads, you know, when you listen to them. So, yeah, I totally agree with that, man. I mean, ain't gonna lie, man. I was listening to like some of the old. I've been listening to Ozzy for the last couple of days, man. And I ain't gonna go, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I kind of broke down when Dreamer came on. I mean, just listening to those lyrics, you know, that song about just wanting the world to be a better place, you know, wanting people to stop hating each other, stop all the chaos, you know. But yeah, man, Alti was a legend, man. I mean, I know him. It's just hard. It's really hard to talk because you know, I mean, his music's been a part of me for over 40 years. And all the freaking, you know, Ozzy is a freaking iconic figure too, man. Ozzy crossed over into mainstream, man. I mean, there's never going to be another Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, he had the Osbournes, you know, did a bunch of commercials, you know, a bunch of stuff. Fuck, he was on the Muppets back in the '80s, you know? Right. Absolutely. Ozzy was larger than life. And that's the thing I really miss about the 80s. Back in the 80s, it seemed like everybody was larger than life back in the 80s. Like you had David Lee Roth, Ozzy Osbourne, obviously the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan, who we lost to. I did a little video about that earlier. You know, Dee Snider. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like to me, it seems like the 80s was the last decade, that had like anything that had this gigantic, larger than life feel to it. You know what I mean? I can respect that, dude. I can totally respect that. But yeah, Ozzy Osbourne's gonna be missed, man. There's not gonna be another Ozzy, we lost Malcolm Jamal Warner too. We lost. Look, just just makes you think about life. It gives you a different perspective about life. It makes you think differently about life. That you know we're all getting older, man. None of us are good. I know I'm kind of repeating myself, or none of us get out of here alive, and it's true. None of us do get out of here alive. But man, it's like, man, how could you hate Ozzy Osbourne? The dude, I mean, the dude just seemed like a lovable guy, man. I mean, the Osbournes, I fucking watched the Osbournes when that shit was on. I thought it was funny as hell. Sharon! Sharon! you know? And I'm just happy I got to see Sabbath live twice and Ozzy live once solo. Would have been really cool to meet him. But anyways, I'm not going to keep this live stream going too long. Just wanted to give my 2 cents about Ozzy, a true icon, a true legend, a true larger than life figure, you know, that's absolutely going to be missed. And the sad part is we're not going to get larger than life figures like this anymore. That's why I miss the 80s so much. The 80s had all of that. The 80s was like a huge spectacle, man, when I think back on it. Absolutely, man. I agree. I'm happy I got to live the 80s. Granted, I was a little kid back then, but man, it was so cool. I had the best fucking childhood back in the 80s. Couldn't imagine being a kid nowadays or for the last 20 years. But, anyways, rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. Thanks to everything you've done. Thanks to all the music. Thanks for heavy metal. And I am out. Keep it metal. Keep it real. Listen to fucking Black Sabbath. And, well, maybe I'll see y'all shortly.